The Endless Golf Podcast, brought to you by Toyota.
And welcome into another edition of the Endless Golf Podcast presented by Toyota. Joining me today is PGA professional John Ruddo. And John, it's great to have you back on the podcast. And you're a frequent guest because you are a plethora of information when it comes to the game of golf, both locally and nationally. And today we're going to talk a little PGA merchandise show. And I know you just saw about a month or so ago, you were down at the PGA show. You go every year. Actually, John, you've been going since 1993. Pretty amazing.
Well, thank you, Bobby. First of all, thanks for having me on. But yeah, secondly, the PGA show has been in my world for the past 25, 30 years. And it has gone through some changes over the years, that's for sure.
Yeah, since 1993, we've seen it grow and then kind of go down the hill a little bit, then come back up, kind of like the game of golf, right?
Right. Actually, we can probably go back before my days at the PGA show. Back in the day, they used to be at the convention center in Orlando and in the parking lot. And golf pros would show up in their vans or station wagons and actually load up a bunch of product and leave. So it was like a flea market back in the day. This is coming from Art Scott, our local golf professional here on the shore.
Well, he would know, that's for sure.
I don't want to date him, but I want to say he's about 80 now. So we always talk about what it was like, back in the day when it kind of just really got started by some golf professionals. And back then, I guess the big companies back then were Wilson and Spalding. I'm going back into the 60s and the 70s. So he said, Santabelt slacks, the polyester with the band, all and 5-button placket shirts with the hard collars. But no, a lot of business was done in the parking lot back in the day. So and obviously transitioned into moving inside the convention center. And probably the glory years of the PGA show, I would say, would be the mid to late 90s. You saw companies, 2-story booths, music blaring. It was quite a show on the floor. And like you said, over the years, golf had a little dip here pre-COVID. Attendance was down. Obviously COVID hit and then golf blew up again. And the show's not back to where it was, in the 90s, but it's definitely rolling again. Unfortunately, some of the companies, we're in this day and age where, the almighty dollar determines a lot of things that you do and that you don't do. And unfortunately, some of the bigger companies choose not to go back to the show basically because of financial reasons. I won't mention those companies, but but yeah.
Well, John, when you mentioned, you mentioned the growth of the PGA show, and when you talk about the growth of the PGA Tour, and you talk about the PGA Tour, a lot of players, most players, always acknowledge the fact of Tiger Woods and the impact that he made on the tour, but he also made an impact on the PGA merchandise show. I mean, you mentioned the '90s when things were probably at its height, and that was because of Tiger Woods. He made a huge difference to the game of golf in a lot of ways, and that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. Tiger had an effect, but I think golf. Let's see, Tiger won. He won Augusta, I believe, in '97.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much booming before Tiger, but he obviously took it up a notch. In the late '90s and in the early 2000s, where he had his Tiger Slam. He was obviously pushing the needle in our business. Golf and beyond golf course construction. Pre-Tiger was really booming. And Jack Nicklaus was building golf courses that were basically unplayable. Greenside bunkers in the middle of fairways, water, so very undulating greens. So we had a boom in the 90s, golf course wise, and then obviously we probably overbuilt throughout the nation, and courses have kind of gone away over the past 20 years to get to I feel like a sweet spot right now. Just look at the Ocean City area. I mean, we grew and then we shrunk, and we feel like we're in a pretty good spot right now with the amount of holes that are available to the public.
Yeah, I think in 1991 was when the watermark year for the Ocean City area, because
Yeah.
a lot of the golf courses were built and it really made a difference to that area. I mean, back in the day, you had Ocean Pines and Ocean City, and then a number of other courses came on board. And we always talk about it. We've got some great courses that the golfers enjoy every year here in Ocean City. And I know that we've had some sketchy weather here in the last month, and normally
Hasn't been good.
golfers can play year round.
Right.
But unfortunately, we've had a lot of
Yeah.
snow in Ocean City, and
I,
people haven't been able to play much golf. That's for sure.
well, no, Bobby, let me correct you there. You said we've had a lot of snow in Ocean City. Since you're in South Florida in the wintertime, I've had a lot of snow in the wintertime. You have heard that we've had snow in the wintertime, but yeah, we have us lonely Eastern Shores bodies up here on the beach here have seen a fair amount of snow.
Well,
So
I'm going to call
uh,
that fake news because you've been on the golf course a lot with me down here as well. So you're a big part of that
I,
when you come down to visit. That's for sure.
yeah, but I tell you what, it's pretty funny because literally the past 10 years, I've been here over 30 years now, and in the past 10 years, we've had real mild winters, and this is really the first year in at least 8 to 10 years where we've had significant snowfall and cold weather, where golf is a problem to get out and play. So there's going to be a lot of pent up demand here in the next couple of weeks as the weather warms, and I know everyone's itching to have a real good season.
Well, John, back to the PGA merchandise show. Folks out there who have never been there, it can be kind of overwhelming. It's so large, but for the average person just walking around, you take in a lot of stuff. But for your golf professional, for someone like you who's a buyer, you buy
Mhm.
for your store as well as for Ruark Golf. So Ruddo's Golf, you have to look at, and also all the golf
Mhm.
courses. So it's a pretty big time for you. And I know you do a lot of business down there, but I know you try to get a lot of business done before you head to the show as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my buying season starts in the fall, the previous fall. So we're in 25 right now. So my spring buying for 25, most of it was done in the fall of 24. At the PGA show, most of the companies, let's just start with club companies, most of them have already are getting ready to release their new product at the show. We've already seen it in the fall, so it's ready to go. Apparel wise, they're showing usually when you buy, there's a spring. There's really like three different seasons. There's a spring buy, there's a summer, uh, summer early fall, and then there's like a fall holiday. So the different companies are showing their different products depending on the time of the year. But yeah, it, it, it's it's a good time for me to look at new companies maybe that I don't see during the years, because most of my business is done meeting with sales reps. So not all sales reps make their way to the Eastern Shore. So the show gives me an opportunity to find, like I found three companies, shirt companies this year that I'm bringing into the green grass shops this
Yeah, you
year.
probably have never seen them if you didn't go,
Never,
right?
yeah, never would have found them if I wasn't at the show. But what I usually do is, whether I'm buying for my store or for green grass, um, you make a list of what you need. So I break it down into categories. So if I'm looking for shoes, I'll check all the boxes of the shoe companies that are there. I'll go by. I'm also meeting with sales reps there also, doing orders for fall. Uh, but anyway, going back, like I'll look at the shoes, at my store, maybe I want to look at different types of accessories. So at the show, they kind of have it set up where like all the apparel is at one end of the floor. You have accessories in the middle, and then you have hard goods, and hard goods are your club companies, you Callaway, Titleist, Ping, um, and they're mostly previewing, their new goods. So it can be overwhelming, but if you go in with a game plan, if you're somewhat organized, which sometimes I'm not, but because you can, like you said, you get going, you say, oh my God, look at that over there. You go over there and look at that. Then you're like, oh, I got to be at an appointment. So you have to have some kind of game plan to really make the golf show uh, work for you.
And I know a lot of golf
And it's a,
professionals also use it as a time to get down there. And, if they're coming from the mid-Atlantic or Northeast, it gives them an opportunity to play golf. The golf courses in the Orlando area are very crowded around that
Yeah,
time. And I know
no,
you don't have an opportunity to play golf,
no,
that's for sure.
no. I mean, listen, if you're in the buying business, you really listen. We're golf professionals. We usually have chance throughout the winter time to get away, take a little golf trip. That's not the time to do it. Like you said, the golf courses are packed, and plus you have, it's your businesses. You have appointments. You're there to, it's a 3 day show too. It used to be 4 days. Back in the day, it was 4 days, and they shrunk it to 3 days. So, I mean, you're there to work and then, you move on. So,
Well, one of the other things that, that's changed our lives over the years, since the 90s is technology. And if you look at the show, how would you say that technology has changed for the show as well? I mean, obviously, the booths may be a little, brighter and bigger, but
yeah,
how's technology
yeah,
affected it?
I don't think the technology as far as the booth construction has changed. In fact, it's gone backwards. Like I said, back in the 90s, mid to late 90s, it was a construction project. I mean, really
It's
high
almost like
tech.
a Vegas show, right?
It was like a show. It was like a stage, it's set up for a stage. So, um, yeah, so it's more reserved now. Back then too, companies would have like I saw. I'm going to date myself again, but Huey Lewis in the News, Hall and Oates. They would have parties like at Universal Studio. So you would go, food, open bar, listen to some music. It was pretty cool. All that's gone though. All that's gone. So it's definitely it's kind of sad. It's a numbers game. They don't want to spend the money.
Well, you can certainly understand some of the companies doing that, and it is an expense, but it's always been a great time for the golf professionals and the golf community to get together for
Yeah,
sure.
no doubt.
And
Yeah.
and John, one of the things we want to talk about next is what's new for 2025. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and talk about what should be in your bag and on your back, the apparel, also
Yeah.
the hard goods, right after this break. So stay with us.
And now a word from our sponsor.
I love a good adventure, and my friends and family do too. So we all drive Toyotas. Tacomas for my rugged buds, and Corollas for my city crew. And I drive a RAV4 that I take camping, shopping, and basically everywhere else. We all picked our Toyotas because they're reliable and efficient and have amazing resale value, saving us money now and down the road, so we can make every day an adventure. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals and inventory. Toyota, let's go places.
And welcome back to the Endless Golf Podcast presented by Toyota. Staying with me is John Ruddo, PGA professional and owner of Ruddo's Golf, also the buyer for all the Ruark golf courses here in the Ocean City, Maryland area. And John, we talked a little about the PGA merchandise show and what work you can get done there. And then moving ahead, what's more important is after you're at the show for 2025, what's new? You had mentioned that you found some new vendors when it comes on the apparel side. And I know you're going to introduce those to your store as well as the golf courses. But what's new for 2025, and what excites
Well,
you in the golf
well,
business?
well, it's really about what excites the consumer, Bobby.
You're right.
And obviously most consumers they're concerned about their golf game. So we can start there with just equipment. Each year we get into a situation where the club companies come out with a new driver, a new fairway wood, or a new iron. The probably the top four companies out there right now. We'll start with TaylorMade. TaylorMade has a new QI 35. It's replacing the QI 10. It did really well. In fact, I think Rory McIlroy, I think he's still playing the QI 10. He likes it so much he hasn't made his way over to the QI 35. But what they've done is there's more carbon in the head of the driver, on the crown. It's the QI had kind of like a black finish. The new QI 35 has a gray carbon finish, real cool looking, kind of like F1 car looking. It's pretty cool. But again, it's really lightweight. And what all the club companies are trying to do is they're trying to make the club lighter and more forgiving. And the lighter they make the club, the more speed you generate, should result in more distance. So that's what everyone's talking about. And also obviously the adjustability of it. You can, it's great testing shafts, that it has been for the past 5 years, but having the ability to pull a shaft out, put another one in, especially if you're aging, you're not sure if you're going to go to stiff to a regular, or even like a regular to a soft regular or a senior. So the club companies give you that option, which is really helpful. But yeah, so TaylorMade, it's been hot. We've sold a fair amount of drivers already early in the year. Ping has a new G440. Again, same concept, lighter weight, more speed. They have extensions to their, again, with TaylorMade also, fairways, hybrids, and irons. Ping has a new 440 iron out, real forgiving, real lightweight. We jumped to Callaway has the new Elite, ELYITE, I think. That's Eli Callaway, the owner of the company, who started the company. He's no longer with us, but real good guy. So again, real cool carbon crown, and really a nice driver that's probably going to improve your game. That's for sure. All of them. And then tie this to the GT series, GT 1, 2, 3, and 4, different heads for different levels of play. And again, all these companies, we just kind of stick with Titleist. The SM10 wedge has done awesome. Bob Vokey makes a great wedge. And then Scotty Cameron has a new putter line coming out. So a lot of different looks, a lot of different price points too. And this is the one thing I want to stress, especially to, if you're looking for golf clubs, your budget might not be there. Here at Ruddo's, what we do is we carry over product from previous generations at a reduced price. So, if you're playing with 1999, 2005 irons, something old technology. The beauty of the TaylorMade and Callaway, especially, and Ping to a little bit, they carry over previous models, and it's basically half of the price. But you're still getting that technology that is so much better than what you had if it's 10 to 15 years old.
John, that's a great point, and I can attest to that. I mean, I spent, and this, I spent 3 years trying to find a 3-wood, and I almost gave up. And I just kept trying and trying, and then I finally found one. I found the TaylorMade, and I tell you, it's made a huge difference in my game. And it doesn't always have to be the newest and the best, the greatest. You go back a year or two. I mean, I sent you a text the other day. Rory said his favorite club he ever hit was the M2 driver.
Right.
I've got the M4 that I can't get rid of because I love the club. So you got to kind of toy with it to find the right equipment for you.
Right. Well, what I can stress to any golfer out there who's contemplating trying something new is, if you have technology that is, I would say, 7 years or older, you're probably losing out on some distance and some forgiveness. A lot of people I deal with, we did a fitting the other day. This kid had TaylorMade Rack OS irons. I mean, they're 20 years old. And if you play on a regular basis, it's worthwhile to make the investment into getting an updated club, whether it be this year's or from 2022. It's still going to be better than what you have from 2010 or 1999 or further. It's real important. And I mean, basically, we don't try to sell anybody anything. I mean, we ask questions. How much do you play? You play 12 times a year? Do you play 12 times a month? So that's a difference maker. What's your budget? Where do you want to be? Do you like how this looks? Do you like how that looks? So it's a lot of decision making that goes into getting the right club, and usually the budget plays some role in it for I would say 70% of the golfers that come in. They want quality product at a certain price. And listen, I get it. We're all trying to make our way through this economy. So
and then you have the opposite. Some guys think they can buy a game, which you can't do either.
Well, again, I do believe you can buy a game if you have ancient equipment. I really do. You can be a little bit better.
Yeah,
but
sure.
obviously I always stress anyone who's either getting in the game or coming back into the game, get a package of 5 lessons. It's worthwhile. If you're going to spend $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 on a set of clubs, it's worthwhile to go spend $300 or $400 on a series of lessons, just so your fundamentals are correct and you're doing what you're supposed to do. Because, like you said, just because you have a oversized forgiving driver doesn't mean that it's going to go straight. But proper alignment, ball position, grip, pre-shot routine stuff can really help you improve your swing and your game.
Go see your PGA professional. Always great advice, no doubt about that. And then John, on the apparel side, you mentioned Joe and some new and exciting stuff on the apparel side.
Yeah, that's the one fun thing about going to the PGA show is to find these little companies here and there that you normally wouldn't see. I'm not going to really reveal what they are, Bobby. If you're in the Ocean City area, you pop into to Lighthouse or Glen Ruddo or Rome Point, you'll see it. But it's just there's some different technology. Actually, I just met with the Sunday Red sales rep a few days ago. That's Tiger's line that was supposed to be online only, but they're branching out. So we might have a little splash of that too. Real quality product.
Well, John, I got to say too, whether you go to Glen Ruddo, Lighthouse Sound, Rum Point, Nutter's Crossing, all the Roark golf courses, and I know we're friends and we've been friends a long time, but I mean this wholeheartely. You do a great job with your buying and your store included. I mean, you walk in there and you feel like hey, you feel like there's something in there for everyone, and really a classy job. You look around those pro shops, and I know you get a lot of help from the staffs at the clubs as well.
Right. No, I appreciate that. I enjoy it. It's something I enjoy. I've always been a shopper. And really
it's also easy to enjoy things you're good at, and you're pretty good at it too.
Well, I always tell people I'm a +6 when it comes to selling a pair of shoes and maybe a 2 or a 3 on the golf course. But yeah, it's fun. It's enjoyable, and it also makes me happy when someone picks up something and makes them happy. So yeah, we're pretty fortunate to do what we do. That's for sure.
And then the comfort side of the shoes. We talked about this a while ago, and the difference in the shoes that are made now, and soft spikes. And I mean, pretty much if it's not wet outside, you can almost play with shoes that are the most comfortable. And that's really the way that the golf shoe has gone over the years. Comfort is important. You're going to spend 4 or 5 hours on your feet. You want to be comfortable.
Right. But I do want to stop you there a little bit. So it is important to have support and traction. I mean, I do not recommend, playing in any type of tennis shoe. It doesn't offer your support, and it doesn't have the grip that a spikeless golf shoe has. But yeah, you're right. A majority of my sales, I sell a lot of shoes at my store, and I would say it's maybe 60-40 now, spikeless versus spiked. But listen, it's amazing. Again, I've been doing this for 30 years. It's amazing. Back in the day, half the conversations are about avoiding blisters. I got these shoes and I blister. I haven't heard the word blister in 20 years when it comes to.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So they've done an excellent job making that golf shoe feel like a tennis shoe, but having the support and the traction that you need to make a good golf swing.
Well, John, I got to tell you, my wife has started to play a little bit of golf, and she can play a little bit. She's got a good swing, and she's starting to enjoy a little bit. And she really believes that there's just not enough good ladies apparel, and the stuff that she feels like they could do a better job with that. I was interested in getting your opinion on that and your thoughts.
It's so funny because at the PGA show, my wife was with me and she helps me with the buying, especially on the ladies' end. And we talk with a couple of different companies that are up and coming. It's a very difficult buy for women. Let's see, I got to be political about this, how I go about saying this, but women are they know what they want. And if they see what they want, try it on, and they like what they want, and it's priced right, they'll buy it. So usually a lot of it has to do with pricing of the garment and making sure that it fits. But it's difficult because it is a smaller, like at my store here, I would say we have 15%, 20% of our territory is set aside for women. And sometimes women walk in and they're a little bit upset because they see all this men's stuff and they got a little bit of women's stuff. But, if you have 10 golfers walk through the door and only 2 more women, it kind of makes sense. So it's the same thing with the pro shop. Unless you're at a different club that has a real big ladies following, a big ladies group. So part of the buying is, what's your market? If you have 300 members, how many of them are women? So it's difficult because sometimes they want a deal, they want something on sale, but you do have those, if you got 10 women, you got 2 or 3 women, they don't care how much it costs, they're going to buy it. But
I think with my wife, I think Angela really is, and this is the kind of the advice that I gave her, and I take this and I do this, and we all do it with men's apparel. Find a brand, whether it's FootJoy or whoever that fits you the best. And if that fits you, that's the brand you should stick with, because as you know, in the men's apparel, I mean, I can wear a FootJoy all day, I can wear Johnny O, but there's certain, Peter Millar just doesn't fit me well. As beautiful as it is, it just doesn't fit. So there's certain things that you find, and when you find that, that's kind of a brand you stick to, and you kind of gotta go with those 2 brands.
The golf club company, I mean the apparel companies have definitely made it a little bit more difficult to find the shirt that fits you right. Like FootJoy, Johnny O, Peter Millar, Donald Ross, they have 2 types of fitting. Like Donald Ross, for instance, has a classic fit and a sport fit. So it's really important when you go to buy a shirt and you're not sure about the brands, is talk to a golf professional in the shop and ask, hey, I'm looking for a shirt. What size should I be? Because, and again, most men
try it on. Try it
on. A lot of them, I don't want to try. Just go try it on. Please try it on, because they're all cut differently. And you might not like, let's say Peter Millar, but Peter Millar has 2 cuts. They have, a generous cut, and they have what they call an athletic fit. That's what FootJoy calls their smaller fit, is called an athletic fit. And the hang tags usually have some kind of description of how a shirt is cut, but it's important to try it on. Even if you think it's not right for you, it might be a different fit.
Well, John, it's been great spending some time with you. I certainly hope our listeners out there have learned a little bit about the PGA show, as well as what's in store for 2025. I'm looking forward to another great golf season in Ocean City. I mean, get back out on the golf course, and hopefully we get to tee it up again soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, for John Ruddo,
thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you next time right here on the Endless Golf Podcast. So long, everybody.
The Endless Golf Podcast has been brought to you by Toyota.